What's the secret you've kept from your parents that would destroy them if they knew? I'd been lying about college for the past 3 years. They think I'm a straight-A biology major on track to medical school, but I dropped out after my first semester. The pressure was suffocating. I couldn't handle disappointing them, so I kept up this charade. It started as a temporary solution. I convinced myself I'd re-enroll soon, but weeks turned into months and months into years. I created elaborate stories about professors and classmates that didn't exist, fabricated exam schedules, and even forged report cards my parents were so proud, hanging each perfect semester on the refrigerator, never suspecting they were celebrating my greatest deception. The web of lies grew more complex with each passing day. The worst part was watching them make financial sacrifices for my education. My father postponed retirement, my mother took extra shifts at the hospital, all to support a future that wasn't happening. They'd send care packages during my fake finals week, little notes saying, "Future doctor, we're so proud," each one stabbing me with guilt, but I couldn't stop the lie. It so had grown far too tangled to undo. Until 3 months ago, when my father had a minor heart attack sitting in that hospital waiting room, watching doctors rush past, I felt a crushing weight of shame. These were the professionals I claimed to be studying to become. My mother kept saying, "At least when you're a doctor, you'll understand all this." I nodded numbly, knowing I understood nothing. The breaking point came when my parents surprised me with a graduation gift, a brand new laptop for medical school applications they had saved for months, scraping together every extra penny for something I didn't deserve that night. I made a decision. I couldn't continue living this double life. I found a job at a small tech startup that surprisingly valued my self-taught coding skills more than my non-existent degree. I signed a lease on a tiny apartment, and I began putting together a plan to come clean. But how do you tell your immigrant parents who sacrificed everything for your education that you've been lying for years? How do you explain that their perfect child, their future doctor, has been working at a coffee shop while pretending to attend lectures? I wrote dozens of confession letters, deleting each one before finishing. Yesterday, everything changed, my mother called, bubbling with excitement. "We got the invitation to your graduation ceremony," she said. "We're booking flights right now." My heart stopped completely. There would be no ceremony, no diploma, no medical school acceptance letters. The house of cards was finally collapsing. I hung up and immediately called my best friend, the only person who knew my secret. "It's time." I told her, "I can't do this anymore." Today I drove home, 6 hours straight, barely breathing, practicing what I would say when I arrived. My father opened the door, confusion on his face. "Why aren't you at school?" he asked. My mother appeared, behind him equally puzzled. I asked them to sit down, my hands trembling as I finally spoke the truth, watching their expressions shift from confusion to disbelief to devastation. My father didn't say a word for 20 minutes, just stared at the floor while my mother cried quietly, asking, "Why?" Over and over, I explained everything, the pressure, the anxiety, the shame, how one small lie had snowballed beyond my control, how sorry I was for every deception. My father finally looked up, tears in his eyes. "All these years, we thought we knew you," he whispered. "It's been 4 days since my confession. They haven't spoken to me directly. My sister acts as intermediary, bringing messages back and forth while they process what happened. I've moved into my new apartment, started my legitimate job, and begun therapy to understand why I created this elaborate fiction rather than simply telling the truth. I don't know if they'll ever fully forgive me or if I'll ever forgive myself, but for the first time in 3 years, I'm not living a lie, and somehow, despite everything, that feels like the beginning of something real."